All right, what's up? What's up, everybody? What's going on? Rise Up Late Night. You know who it is. Andre the Torch Robinson, the Firestarter, is in the building. Man, listen, I know y'all didn't expect two shows in one night, but guess what? I have two different audiences, one in the evening and one at night. And I feel like the evening audience, it was a phenomenal audience, but you got to watch game 7 of what was the Stanley Cup while we was doing that show. So I decided to do one again when the Stanley Cup wasn't on. That was a phenomenal game 7. By the way, a lot of people, a lot of people had the Edmonton Oilers winning, and I don't blame them. We got call lines rolling right now. I got to see who this is from New Hampshire right now. Caller, what's up?
Well, I got one point to want to cross. Familiar with Vince Russo?
Yep.
Yeah, that motherfucker is a idiot.
Oh, well, let me get through these introductions first. Call back in like 3 minutes, and then we'll talk. We'll talk sports. Call back. All right.
All
Appreciate.
right. Before you hang up on me, yeah, the other people that he screwed and tattooed and everybody else, and the whole world. Let the whole world know that Vince Russo is a fucking idiot. He sucks as bad as Mike Stars Riley on the radio.
Got you. Will do. Now, with that being said, you guys got to watch what was Game 7, phenomenal Game 7 as the Florida Panthers take the Lord Stanley Cup. 2-1 was the score, and in befitting fashion, the game winner was scored by an ex-Buffalo Sabre. Interesting enough. They always say that Buffalo athletes go somewhere else and then they end up winning championships. Well, it happened again tonight with Sam Reinhart, who surprisingly to me scored 57 goals in the season. I'm like, wow. There is a major disparity between the Buffalo Sabres and the Florida Panthers then, because I watched them live for years right here in Buffalo, and I didn't see that Sam Reinhart at all. But nevertheless, game winner scored by Sam Reinhart, ex-Sabre, who's now a Stanley Cup winner, champion. Shout out to him for that. Shout out to the whole Florida Panthers organization. We wouldn't consider Florida to be a hockey state, but nevertheless, they are on top of the hockey world. Connor McDavid, they tried their best. You got to give a lot of props to the Edmonton Oilers as well, that Canadian fan base, who had a lot of fan base here as well. Got to give them props for pushing said Stanley Cup to a game 7 after being down 3 games to none. That is something to be admired. I know we don't do consolation prizes at all, even though Connor McDavid won the Conn Smythe Award, by the way, which a lot of people are I don't know, they upset. I'm looking at social media somewhat, and I see some people are upset with the fact that a winner, someone who won the Stanley Cup, didn't win the Conn Smythe Award. But this is not the first time that we've seen that happen at all. This is not the first time. We have seen in other sports, i.e., LeBron James, win awards even if he lost the finals. We've seen that. Don Smith, what up? So we've seen that happen before. So we can't act as if like we haven't seen that before. So give them props when props is due. The Edmonton Oilers tried their best, and their performance is to be admired, not mocked whatsoever, even though they did not get it done. Whew. But so there's that. There's that as far as the hockey world is concerned. Now hockey is in what we call the off season again. What teams do we look to see make a difference for next season? Because in the hockey world, we haven't had too many dynasties as of late as it pertains to the hockey world. So I'm interested to see what teams make what moves in the off season, so that when we come back here next June, we might be seeing different teams in the Stanley Cup, or will we see Edmonton again? Never know, right? But we shall see. Put your team in the comment section. If you have a hockey team, put your hockey team in the comment section. If not, that's fine and dandy, because we are about to go on Scroll Patrol, in which I want to thank Marcus, the Alphabets. I want to thank Dennis Holmes and Jay Renat for the Rise Up Unlimited radio show that we did earlier, which was a blast. It's been a while since we've done shows like that, but yeah, I want to definitely try to bring shows back as much as possible, because this is something that I love to do. I ain't gonna hold you. And besides working and other, family stuff, I really don't. I really and sports stuff. I really don't be. I be out the way, minding my business, and putting on shows for you guys. So let's get on the Scroll Patrol, because there's a lot that I want to cover here. First and foremost, I'm gonna get interested in today. We're gonna be a little interested in today. So slide that thing right on over, and we're gonna talk about right off the jump sports journalism as it pertains to major media. Who would you rather have? Molly Karam, Malika Andrews, and Joy Taylor? Well, I mean, so Joy Taylor, I'm not a big fan of. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm not a big fan of Joy Taylor, but recently she has spoke out on some things that I actually liked her response on, especially when it pertained to the WNBA. Uh, so that's Joy Taylor. Malika Andrews, I think, is young and upcoming. I think she's done a lot of things, some things that a lot of people wish they can do, which that's fine. Phenomenal job. Give her a lot of credit. But in this case, it would have to be for me, Molly Karam, just because Molly Karam's experience. First Take, obviously, they think they're the flagship of sports talk because they're ESPN. I mean, she deals with knuckleheads every day, all day, who talk sports. Some not I agree with, some I don't agree with all the time. But hey, if we all agreed in sports talk, it would be boring. There would be no reason for sports talk. So I'm gonna go with Molly Karam on this one, and I'm gonna say it's by default. Unfortunately, because I'm not a big fan of Joy Taylor, and I don't listen to Joy Taylor much at all. Um, Now, with that being said, I can move on to the next one real easy, but I just wanted to put that out there. I mean, they all fine, by the way. All fine. This one is very interesting right off the jump. So one coach has got to go. Jim Harbaugh, Doug Peterson, Matt LaFleur, and Kevin Stefanski. And I am right now also sharing to the groups that always support the show. I appreciate y'all. I know it's on the late night and on the hiccup. I didn't like advertise this show tonight because I kind of wanted to surprise people with doing it. You got the Dallas Stars. I know you were down there in Dallas, Dalton. So I'm not surprised that you picked the Dallas Stars. They did have a good season this year. I expect to see the Dallas Stars further their conquest. I mean, I've watched the Dallas Stars a lot. being that they come to Buffalo. And usually Buffalo has a hard time with the Dallas Stars. So, I mean, good choice, like the choice. But now, as it pertains to one coach having to go, shout out to Marcus Herring as well. The call line is open to 716-481-8249. And make sure y'all like and share. All right. Now, Doug Peterson, Jim Harbaugh, Matt LaFleur, Kevin Stefanski. Okay, so Kevin Stefanski has been a coach of the year before, obviously. Year he won coach of the year, I was not impressed enough. I get it. It's the Cleveland Browns. He definitely has resurrected that culture, obviously, in Cleveland. Was I impressed by him? I wouldn't say I was impressed so much by him, but you have to give credit where credit is due. Cleveland has become a winning culture since Kevin Stefanski left Minnesota to be their coach. So we have to give props and acknowledge the positivity in that. Doug Peterson, another one who left the Eagles, went to the Jaguars, started creating a winning culture. Last year was iffy. I'm gonna say it was shaky for Doug Peterson and the Jaguars, who allowed the Houston Texans to end up winning that division. Which, I mean, Houston Texans, gotta give them props. They're pretty good. Jim Harbaugh, who now has left Michigan University after winning a national championship, used to be the 49ers coach, as everybody knows, when Colin Kaepernick was around. The guy who a lot of people revere as someone who can't get over the hump when it comes to the Super Bowl, can't win the Super Bowl, can't get it done. Khaki Pants is back now with the Chargers, who I think have a long way to go. Long way to go. I think that what he did with Michigan was phenomenal, but his battle be from Michigan winning a national championship to his battle with the Chargers ever winning a Super Bowl ring is going to be three times immense, because I honestly feel like that organization has been doomed ever since what they did to the San Diego community. So I really don't see the Chargers ever winning one unless he builds this super kingdom of a foundation in LA, which they've got a long way to go. I mean, they just lost Keenan Allen. Obviously, they lost their running back and Austin Eckler. They've got contract issues left and right. Um, and then you're a new coach with this new team. I mean, a lot of people was talking about trying to get rid of Justin Herbert, and I'm like, y'all got to be kidding me. A lot of people was talking about JJ McCarthy from Michigan joining this team. I'm like, y'all got to be kidding me. You can't be serious. Um, so they got a long way to go. Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur. A lot of people gave Brian Dable props. By the way, a lot of people gave Brian Dable props the year he won Coach of the Year. I called it earlier a consolation prize, because I feel like there are always, for some reason lately, the Coach of the Year that they pick, there's always two or three coaches that are better, and for some reason they never put them on that pedestal ever. The year Sean McDermott had a lot of success, they never put him on a pedestal. The years Matt LaFleur went 13-3 3 years in a row, they never put Matt LaFleur on the pedestal. And I guess it's because of their quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers at the time was their quarterbacks alike. But I think that's absolute bullshit when it comes down to what moves an organization makes. It's not the Packers' fault that the Giants decided to go get Daniel Jones. And now we're revering that as like, oh, okay, yeah, they had Daniel Jones, so yeah, he should win because they won a playoff game. And Tim Tebow won a playoff game. Did the Denver Broncos coach that year win Coach of the Year? I don't think so. I highly suspect that that is not the case whatsoever. So I'm not hearing that BS rhetoric of, oh well, yeah, Daniel Jones was their quarterback, so they won a playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, spare me, cry me a river. Cry me a river on that. Not hearing it. Um, we praise organizations for making the right organizational moves, but then deem them unworthy because of the talent that they bring to the organization. Like, oh, because they got Aaron Rodgers, yeah, that coach should never win Coach of the Year. You know, just because they have all these weapons, yeah, we shouldn't give them Coach of the Year because they got a lot of weapons over there. So, yeah, nah, we're gonna skip by them. We're gonna give it to a Kevin Stefanski or a Ryan Dable. Interesting enough. Um, and in this case, one coach has got to go, and that coach to me is honestly and truthfully Doug Peterson. He can go bye bye today. Today, I do not see the Jackson. I think the Jacksonville Jaguar window is closed, and a lot of people are like, "Why would you say that?" I would say that because they have two teams in their division that are coming. One, one is already here actually. So, like the Wyatt Six is here. Uh, I would say that the Houston Texans is here. I would say the Indianapolis Colts is coming, up and coming. I think Doug Peterson's window is shut, and I think they also made a big mistake by signing Trevor Lawrence to a $55 million contract when his numbers is resembling to one Daniel Jones that I just mentioned about 3 minutes ago. I think that's mistake number one. Mistake number two is the fact that, I mean, has anybody heard anything that would make you think that the Jacksonville Jaguars upgraded this season from last season? I haven't heard much of anything. Their NFL draft. Can anybody tell me who they drafted in the NFL draft? They're back again. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen it and I haven't heard it. And I honestly think, again, that their window is closed. I do not think that they'll make the playoffs this year either. Um, if we look, if we wanted to, we could look at their schedule, and I could go right off their schedule and about what schedule they have. When is the last time the Jacksonville Jaguars had a super tough schedule? Well, I guess we'll find out right now, right? I guess we're gonna find out right now about the Jacksonville Jaguars. So let's move the tab over a little bit. Obviously, you saw that coaching tab. We're gonna move to their schedule. Why not? Right? So now we do have their schedule right here. Let me blow this thing up for everybody to see. Yeah, 175 looks real good. All right, let's blow this thing up. Jacksonville Jaguars week one play the Miami Dolphins. Now, obviously, I just got finished chewing out Jay Renard about his Miami Dolphins team, who I feel like are such pretenders. I told y'all this. And when it comes to competition, they always find a way to somehow uh, leave things undone instead of getting shit done. But this Battle of Florida will be very interesting week one, where the Dolphins claim that they're going to be better next season. I've heard this a couple of times. They also claim that they're winning the AFC East this year. I've heard that a couple of times. Dalton said, Dre, I'm not trying to convince you to change your mind, but will CJ Stroud avoid the sophomore slump? I think so. I think they've put enough weapons around CJ Stroud to try to alleviate him from what is the sophomore slump. It doesn't happen to everybody, by the way, Dalton. It has happened to many, but it doesn't happen to everybody. I think CJ Stroud might be one of those players in one of those teams in one of those conferences where that may not be the case. All right. If he was in the AFC North, I'd say it might be a little different, but he's not in the AFC North. If he was in the AFC West, I might say it might be a little different. If he was in the AFC East, I might say it might be a little different. But in this case, being in the South, AFC South has been very weak for the last couple of years, and this is why Doug Peterson's got to go too. Um, is because listen, when you got the deal, and you're on top, you need to close the deal. He did not, he has not, and I don't see anything that would give me notion that he is going to close the deal. And the only reason why Jim Harbaugh is not my pick is just because he's just came back. So by process of elimination, once again, Jim Harbaugh just now coming back to the NFL. I'm gonna give him a year, and he might be the one that's got to go if we ever pull this back up again. Matt LaFleur has shown you what he's done with less with Aaron Rodgers or without Aaron Rodgers. Been very successful for the most part. Hopefully, they can get over the hump this year and maybe get to the Super Bowl. Kevin Stefanski obviously has won Coach of the Year, so I mean the Browns looked good last year. They just got their boots smoked by the Texans, who nobody saw that coming. I mean, but the Browns won a lot of games with Joe Flacco, who came up off the couch as well. So I got to give props where props is due for that. When you come up off the couch and you win games, I mean, you don't see that on a regular basis. That's not a norm for people to come up off the couch and win games as such. So that's my thing with that. But now getting back to the Jacksonville Jaguars, real quick. Let me mute this. I'm gonna mute these dudes, man. You're talking a lot of junk. All right, out of here. Jacksonville Jaguars have the Browns the next week. The Cleveland Browns are week 2. Again, the Browns have been up and coming. They play in a tough division. All the teams in the AFC North could be playoff contenders this year. Pittsburgh Steelers to Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, who get Joe Burrow back, who is going to be healthy. And then you got Lamar Jackson, who sits on top of the throne on the AFC North side. They are built for games against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, I know this is in Jacksonville, but they're built for it. I'm gonna say that's a loss. Then they play the Bills Monday night in Buffalo. That could be a loss. The Texans could be a loss. The Colts could be a loss. The Bears, I think they play in London. You know, Jacksonville is really good in London. That should be their home stadium. They win every time they go to London for some reason. That will be a W. The Patriots will be a W. The Packers, that's not going to be a W. I don't care if they're at home or not. This is mid-October. This is like into October. The Packers, they're usually a cold weather team, but they can play in other elements. I have the Packers winning that one. The Eagles, I have the Eagles beating them as well. The Lions are going to beat them. The Vikings, they'll beat the Vikings. They'll beat the Titans. That's 2. Texans again, that's going to be tough. They may split with the Texans. I'll give them 1 out of 2. If Aaron Rodgers is playing for the Jets and healthy, this Jets game is not a sure shot win either. The Raiders, sure. Titans, sure. Colts, I got the Jaguars winning 7 games this year. 7 at best. 7. Yeah, I said it, and I ain't gonna hold my tongue on it either. I said 7, and I'm not playing. So serious. This is not a schedule for the faint of heart. They literally play the AFC East this year. That's 3 teams from the AFC East may be contenders this year. Then you have to still play the Packers, who are really good. You still got to play the Eagles, who are I mean, they was in the playoffs last year. You still got to play the Lions, who are really good now, the Texans, who are really good now. So this schedule, to me, is not a schedule for the faint of heart at all. And I see them winning 7. That's it. I'll give them 8 at the best. So who would have to go? Doug Peterson, because at that point, that's 2 seasons in a row where you ain't making the playoffs. And I don't know what the criteria now is for the length of string you can give a coach before he's on a hot seat because it changes with everybody. So WP is out of there to me. He's out of there for sure. Now, moving on to another one. We got another one to get to. Yeah, I'm going to do a little. We're going to run these joints down. And I'll probably do these on another show too with some other people. I didn't get to these earlier, but we will, obviously. Most hated players in NBA, in the NBA. I can agree with number 10, Patrick Beverly. I don't know if he should be that low. I think he's higher than that. Um, Jason Tatum. I'm still trying to figure out the hate on Jason Tatum, and I'm trying to figure out the hate on Klay Thompson. Where did this hate come from? I would love to know. Why? Is it because he's a champ, 4-time champ? I don't know. Trae Young is kind of weird. Trae Young's done nothing in the league. Absolutely nothing. He's put up a bunch of points, but done nothing other than that. Nothing. Jason Tatum obviously just hung up the 18th banner for the Boston Celtics, obviously. So, I mean, Josh Giddey, who is this guy? He shouldn't even be on the list just based off of he ain't even known like that. Get him off the list. Scratch him off. Joel Embiid. I mean, yeah, I hate Joel Embiid. Why? He's a competitor. What, because he's injured a lot? Ben Simmons, I understand. Draymond Green, I understand. Dylan Brooks, I definitely understand. If you ask me 5 players, and I got to take them from this list, the 5 players from this list, Dylan Brooks is 1, Draymond 2, Ben Simmons 3, Patrick Beverly moves all the way up to 4. And then if I got to take one other person, I'm sorry, Kevin Durant, but you're number 5. You will always be hated for going to Golden State, unfortunately, by people who just don't understand that it wasn't their decision to make, and they don't make choices that you deserve to make. I don't get it. I don't understand why LeBron James is not on this list if that's the case. Why is Trae Young hated? No idea, Dallas. I have no clue whatsoever why Trae Young is hated. I mean, he's done so little in the league. I don't understand. I mean, he scored points, but that's about it. That's all he's done. The Atlanta Hawks have done absolutely not a damn thing. So I'm not understanding what the hate is on him. What, because he's underachiever? I don't. I mean, it happens. Moving along. You're on the clock, all eligible for the same draft. Who am I choosing out of these? This is tough. John Elway, Dan Marino, Brett Favre, Drew Brees, Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Steve Young, Aaron Rodgers, Kurt Warner. Wow. Well, I will tell you that John Elway is a 2-time champ. You already know about his whole entire story. John Elway. Dan Marino's never won, but you know that he's prolific. What he's done, he's literally top 5 and probably everybody's list of greatest quarterbacks ever, especially without a running game. He did a lot with receivers that a lot of people don't even wouldn't consider top receivers. Brett Favre, obviously, besides the fact that he had that welfare issue, I know a lot of people hold that against him, in which personally you should, but sports wise you shouldn't. Um, Brett Favre won one Super Bowl ring in two tries, and he lost to John Elway. Drew Brees has won a championship as well. We all know the year Hurricane Katrina. He's also number two in yards all time. Uh, he's done a lot in his career with receivers you wouldn't say is top, wouldn't be in the top 50. Um, Eli Manning has two rings solely off of defense. He's made, I mean, in the playoffs, he had a couple of decent performances, but his two championship rings is solely off of defense. I mean, when you got Michael Strahan, OCU Minora, Justin Tuck, and those guys who tore up offensive lines, who caused all types of havoc and chaos, beating the Patriots twice, not once but twice. Um, yeah, Ben Roethlisberger has won championship as well. The Pittsburgh Steelers, you know what he's done. He's accomplished. Having some pretty good weapons behind him. Mike Tomlin as his coach, pretty good, pretty good. Ben Roethlisberger. Steve Young has won as well. They had immense talent over there in San Francisco when Steve Young was the quarterback right after Joe Montana. Aaron Rodgers has won one Super Bowl ring as well. Um, one of the immense, one of the better talents as far as individual talents that I've ever seen as far as passing the football would be Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is one of the only quarterbacks who has a 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio in the league for an entire career, which is very interesting. And then you have Kurt Warner. We all know the story of Kurt Warner, where he came from, and where he is now, and where he got to in the league, being a winner. Um, I wish he would have beat the Patriots though. That would have been nice. He had Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Marshall Falk, the greatest show on turf. Interesting, very interesting group of quarterbacks here. My answer to this question, I know a lot of people would think that I would say Aaron Rodgers because obviously Aaron Rodgers is my favorite quarterback. Um, Besides Peyton Manning, who is not on here for some reason. If Peyton Manning's on here, I'm picking Peyton Manning, just to let y'all know. But because he's not on here, I'm going to go with the most talented quarterback. And the most talented quarterback besides Aaron Rodgers is Dan Marino. And a lot of people like, what? You picked the Dolphin? Are you serious? He didn't win no championships. But I feel like if you gave Dan Marino for the circumstance and the situations that are current, the Denver Broncos had a pretty good defense as well. For the most part, Drew Brees has had good defenses in New Orleans. So have the Giants. So have the Steelers. So have the Rams. So have the 49ers. And the Packers somewhat have had decent defenses as well. Plus, Dan Marino had no name receivers. I mean, Mark Clayton, super duper, super dupe. Um, I mean, if you give Dan Marino any of what these other guys have had, I think Dan Marino would have some hardware as well to go along with the fact that he's just a phenomenal passer. So I'm gonna go with Dan Marino. I'm choosing Marino, and that would surprise many, I'm sure. All right. Obviously, you see in my background Monday Night Raw going on too. Y'all see that? Yeah. All right. Name a random point guard who never. I have to move this over a little bit. They keep doing that. My answer is Jason Kidd. I don't feel that Jason Kidd. I don't think some reason. Okay, my fault. I don't know. That was kind of weird just now. Sorry about that. What were we talking about? All right, back at it like a bad habit. All right, that's what we was talking about. I think the answer is Jason Kidd, obviously. Again, I don't think he gets enough love and respect because he didn't win a championship. I hate when it does that.